What's up everyone, welcome to the video. We are breaking down Super Bowl 57 for DraftKings and FanDuel, and it should be a good one. We have the Chiefs taking on the Eagles, two #1 seeds from the AFC and the NFC. Patrick Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts on 1.5 point spread, a 50-point over-under, playing in a beautiful stadium in a beautiful city over in Arizona. So lots to be excited about, lots of fun players, and it should be a good one. But anyway, if this is your first time here, what's up? My name is Chris Pennell. I break down NASCAR and NFL DFS each and every single week on this channel. And speaking of NASCAR, next week for the Daytona 500, we have a Million Maker $1 million due first, so I'd highly recommend checking that out. But in these videos, what I like to do specifically is go position by position, but allow me to progress through it more so for a single entry tournament build. Then at the end, I run my optimizer to see who's popping the most as of right now with the current ownership and just regular projections that I have set in place. And if that sounds all fine and dandy to you, gonna be one small thing in return. Leaving a like on the video, subscribing to the channel if you are new, and feel free to leave a comment down below, being nice, being mean. I don't really care either way, but I'd love to hear from you. And as always, we will start with the quarterback position. And I don't think I have to tell you guys that both these guys are pretty good at football and that you should play them on this slate. It just comes down to how much you want to throw in the captain spot compared to the flex spot, because I'll be honest, I am just jamming in both whenever I can. If you want to fade one, sure, go for it, but that's a very scary thing to do and you're a little bit riskier than I am. But I will mention one thing, because we already know we're playing these guys. I don't have to tell you that they're good. We can read all the stats, but Jalen Hurts, super high floor with his rushing ability. Soft matchup versus the Chiefs. Tougher matchup for Patrick Mahomes versus the Eagles, but they've had a bit of a softer schedule this year, and this is definitely by far the best quarterback they will have played this season. But I will tell you something that's even more useful is that over on Prize Picks and Underdog, they're offering some really good promos this week. So over on Prize Picks, you can take the over on Patrick Mahomes at 0.5 passing yards. And then over on Underdog, you can take the over on 0.5 total yards for Jalen Hurts. And if you are a first-time user on either site, you can use promo code CPEN. You'll get an instant deposit match bonus up to $100. You can use the link down below or in the pinned comment, or head over to prizepicks.com or Underdog and just type in promo code CPEN. You'll be well on your way to using some free cash. And moving over to our lineup, like I said, both quarterbacks are just going to be jammed in for me. I'm going to forego them in the captain spot for now. I think a lot of people plug in one or the other. Projection-wise, Jalen Hurts a little bit better than me for Mahomes, but I love both quarterbacks. We're just going to throw in the flex spot, and we'll take one of their pass catchers to put in the captain spot, because if you're going to throw in, like, let's say a Kelsey in the captain or an A.J. Brown in the captain, you pretty much need the corresponding quarterback to be in there at least. And moving on to the running backs, this is kind of gross all around, more so for the Eagles than it is for the Chiefs. But even then, it looks like Clyde Edwards-Helaire might make some noise this week. I'm not really sure how much he'll actually play, but it is kind of annoying he's back. But the Eagles situation is just a lot worse, because you have a three-man show, plus adding the fact that Jalen Hurts is kind of the main guy anyway to run the ball. So it's just really gross rostering any of these guys. But you have Miles Sanders at $7,800, Kenneth Gainwell at $5,000, then Boston Scott at $3,000, and he is only alive to annoy the owners of Miles Sanders. I'll tell you that right now, because every time I roster Sanders, I feel like Boston Scott gets like 2 or 3 touchdowns out of nowhere, and it's really annoying. But anyway, all these guys are probably going to play around 25 to 45% of the snaps. Then adding the fact that Jalen Hurts is going to steal rushing touchdowns around the goal line here and there, and just in general, it's just kind of not fun to roster any of the Eagles. I think if I had to pick one, it would probably be kind of Gainwell, because I think he's got the most pass catching upside out of all these running backs. But even then, it's not like it's going to be a ton. And if you roster Miles Sanders, you're basically banking on touchdowns, because he's not going to get there any other way, because he does not catch passes. And a lot of times his touchdowns do get vultured by one of the running backs or Jalen Hurts. So for me, not loving any of the Eagles running backs, but if I had to pick one, I think Kenneth Gainwell would be the one I would roll with. Although Miles Sanders is the safest for sure. I mean, he gets the most volume. It's just the snaps are kind of everywhere, and you are kind of paying a premium at nearly $8,000 for a running back that's, sharing the backfield with 3 other guys, including Jalen Hurts. Then for the Chiefs, it's a little bit more appealing here. We have Isaiah Pacheco at $7,200 and Jerick McKinnon at $6,800. We know what they are. McKinnon's going to be the pass catching back. Isaiah Pacheco is the guy in between the tackles. Now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he did get activated this week. I guess we'll have to see how much he's going to play. I don't think it's going to be too much. Even before he got hurt, he was seeing sub 20% of the snaps the couple weeks prior to that. So it was definitely a big shift where Pacheco was the main guy with McKinnon being the main pass catching back. And I'm assuming they're not going to just throw in Clyde Edwards-Helaire and have a main role. So maybe project him for a point or two, but I don't think he's going to have be much of a factor in this game. I think we're going to see a level that we saw the past few weeks with Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon. So I feel fine with both. McKinnon's always going to project a little bit better because of his pass catching upside, but Pacheco does have better touchdown upside on a medium basis. I know McKinnon was on an absolute hot stretch of just scoring touchdowns every single week, but it's just definitely hard to project for a guy that's not going to see a ton of carries. And moving on to a more fun position, we do have the pass catchers here, the wide receivers. And we'll start with the Eagles group here first, which consists of A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith at $9,200 and $8,600. Then we have Quez Watkins down there at $1,400. And those are really the only guys that are involved in this offense. And really, it's just a two-man show of Brown and Smith. But Watkins is always available for like that 50, 60-yard bomb touchdown if there happens to be some broken coverage or he just happens to beat his guy deep, as he does have some speed for sure. Now, this is a favorable matchup for all these wide receivers. The Chiefs have not been good versus the position this year. They are 20th DVA versus the pass and 29th versus the position, so I think all these guys are fine plays. If you are rocking with Jalen Hurts in the captain spot, it does make some sense to roster one or two of these guys paired with Jalen Hurts. Or if you do have one in the captain spot, make sure you get Jalen Hurts in the flex spot just to correlate that. But Brown and Smith are pretty interchangeable, both very similar plays. I think A.J. Brown offers more upside, a higher ceiling on most weeks, but we have seen through the playoffs where he just has not had a good stretch of games so far, and Smith has definitely been the better play, but that could flip on any given week, so it really just comes down to what fits your lineup better, or if you're just looking for ownership or whatnot. I think Brown will probably be a little bit higher owned than Smith, but it is very, very similar. And if you're looking at props, I mean, they're also very similar. So it just really comes down to personal preference there. I prefer Brown, but again, you can basically a flip of a coin. And Watkins is fine if you're just looking for a burner. Then on the Chiefs side of things, we have MVS at $6,200, who had a really nice game versus the Cincinnati Bengals. But keep in mind, like 3 guys got hurt in that game, so he's just kind of force-fed the ball anyway. Juju, who has been a disappointment most weeks this year, at $5,600. Kadarius Toney at $4,400, who got banged up in the Bengals game, but should be good to go for this one. And then we have Sky Moore at $3,800, and then also Justin Watson at $2,000. Mecole Hardman is hurt, will not play in this game. So just a bunch of like wide receiver threes on this team for Patrick Mahomes, but he still gets the job done. If I had to prefer anyone here, it's going to be MVS for me. I wish he was still cheaper than Juju. They finally flipped that. But honestly, MVS, Kadarius Toney might be my 2 favorite. Then Juju there at $5,600. It's just he doesn't offer out much upside. He never gets into the end zone anyway. And MVS is more of a deep threat than Juju is. So I'll just be chasing the upside there with Marquez Valdez-Scantling for sure. Then everybody else, it's just a matter of if they fit your lineup at the end, because I'm not going to force feed guys like Sky Moore in my lap at nearly $4,000, Justin Watson at $2,000. So it really just comes down to, hey, if I have $2,000 left in my lineup and I have Patrick Mahomes, yeah, maybe I'll throw in Justin Watson. But I will say the matchup is not easy for these guys, as the Eagles have had some pretty good defense versus wide receivers this season. And moving on to the tight ends, we have 2 of the better ones in football. Obviously, the best one by far, Travis Kelce at $10,600 and Dallas Goedert at $6,400. And if I had to pick any pass catcher on the slate, Travis Kelce is the one I'm going to side with. He's definitely the safest. He offers the highest floor and extremely high ceiling every single week. Like, you don't usually think of tight ends having similar ceilings to guys like an A.J. Brown or Stephon Diggs or Jamar Chase, for example. But Kelce offers you that. I mean, the guy is extremely consistent, high ceiling, high floor, has killed it so far in the playoffs, and that's just what good players do. And if you're looking at a sample size of all of his playoff games, I think he's averaging not averaging, but I think he's got 1,500 yards, 15, 17 touchdowns over a 15 or 17 game sample size. Like, the guy just absolutely kills it. And with how bad the receiving group is for the Chiefs, I mean, the ball's just got to go to Travis Kelce. Like, he's by far the most talented guy. Andrew will find ways to get him the football, even though the Eagles defense will certainly be keyed in on him. But he's definitely my personal preference of favorite pass catcher here. And then Dallas Goedert, I think he's a good play as well at $6,400. No, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith are going to garner a lot of attention, but the price discount we can get with Dallas Goedert here does make some sense for me. And then as far as the backup tight ends go, you can't really play any of these guys. Noah Gray would be the one that I think is somewhat viable, because he'll probably get a catch. You just kind of have to hope he's in the end zone, because at $1,200 he is kind of priced up a little bit for a guy that's not that involved. But as far as like a Jordy Fortson, maybe catch the random goal line touchdown, maybe. But if I'm going to play any backup tight ends, it's definitely going to be from the Chiefs rather than the Eagles. And my favorite part, defenses and kickers. I don't really want to play either defense. I mean, both offenses should definitely be able to put up points. But if I had to pick a defense, it's probably going to be the Eagles, just because Patrick Mahomes is still dealing with an ankle issue. And that defensive line for the Eagles is really, really good. But again, I don't love either, but they do project slightly better for me. And then as for the kickers, I am actually okay with the kickers in this game. I mean, we both have great offenses here. But I could see, the defenses might step up, especially the Eagles, where, the Chiefs should be able to move the ball, but maybe they still out a couple times in the red zone, and Harrison Butker could get a couple field goals. So if I had to pick a kicker here, I'm preferring Butker over Elliott, but again, very interchangeable, and I have them projected within half a point. And moving back over to our lineup to finish this off, we only have 2 spots voted in, so we do have some work to do. I would like an elite pass catcher in the captain spot, and since we have Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, I'm fine with any of the top 3 here. Now, Kelce is a lot more expensive than A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith here. but I would like to try to make him fit. If we can't get to him, we will drop down to one of the wide receivers, but let's just see what we have to work with here. So if we throw in Travis Kelce, I don't think we're going to be able to afford either Brown or Smith, which kind of sucks. So maybe if I take out Kelce and plug in like a Smith, for example, maybe we can fit in Kelce with him. We will see. Let's just try to see what we have to work with here. So we have just under $4,000. I think a good salary saver option would be one of the kickers, which I do prefer Harrison Butker there. And that would still leave us with right around $4,000. Now, I know I can't fit in Smith or A.J. Brown, because if I tried that, I'm already over the salary. But I would like a pass catcher with Hurts in this build, and Dallas Goedert is at a fair price point, $6,400. So we'll throw him in, and that would leave us with $1,500 left, which I know there's a couple players down there that we did talk about, like Watkins or Noah Gray, that would be able to fit. And yeah, so Kes Watkins fits in. I don't think that's a terrible looking lineup. And don't just copy and paste this, guys. I'm playing 150 lineups on this slate, so this is just something that fits as we talk through it. But that's not a terrible looking lineup. So you have Travis Kelce with Patrick Mahomes and Harrison Butker, and you have Jalen Hurts with Dallas Goedert and Kes Watkins. So this is a 3-3 build. If you wanted to switch that around, maybe we can fit in Smith in the captain spot and Travis Kelce. That's something I'd be kind of interested in. So if we take those guys out, we plug in Travis Kelce. It's only leave us around $2,000, but if you do put in two value plays, that is a route you could go. So you could play Kes Watkins if you want, and you'd have around $3,000, which doesn't do too much for you. You could play like a Justin Watson or a Noah Gray, but you're leaving around $1,000 on the table if you are doing that, nearly $2,000 if you use Noah Gray. But there's a couple of ways you can go for sure. And Smith does make it a little bit more flexible, but I just feel a lot better with Travis Kelce in that captain spot. But lots of good plays on the slate. Don't just copy and paste what you see here. Build your own lineup, use your own judgment. But for the most part, I mean, you can fit a lot of what you want in, because fitting in Mahomes, Kelce, Goddard, and Jalen Hurts in the same lineup was really not that hard. And like I said in the beginning, just wanted to run the optimizer at the end to see who's popping the most right now. The lineups probably aren't going to look that great. I have no settings put in place. Just wanted to see raw points wise who is popping here. So let's pull up the builds that I had running while we were talking. And yeah, it looks like Mahomes is popping in the most here in the flex. Travis Kelce a lot in the flex. Jalen Hurts looks to be my best captain projection-wise at 69%. Lots of Goddard, lots of Watkins, a lot of Butker, which is this is actually the lineup we built right here. Just Hurts wasn't in the captain, Kelce was. So yeah, I mean, projection-wise, I guess we were kind of right in line with what I was hand building there. Then some Brown, Hurts, and the flex, Juju. So yeah, not really too surprised to hear who's popping. Basically, everyone we talked about who obviously everyone I talked about is going to be popped in here, but the ones I preferred the most seem to be near the top. I'm curious what team got in a little more. I guess it was a 50-50 split between Philly and KC. I mean, both teams are pretty even, similar implied team totals. So yeah, again, doesn't surprise me too much, but just curious to see what it has. But with that being said, guys, that's all I got for this video. I hope you do enjoy. Should be a great game. I wish you all the best of luck. And for those of you that are following me over to NASCAR for the rest of the season after football ends, I'll be glad to have you. Can't wait for the season. And I wish you all best of luck.